This is why we probably won't survive as a species.
Japan has stockpiled potassium iodide. There's a run on potassium iodide in our country.
Meow! I'm Hoople's cat. Hooples, can I use iodized salt to block my thyroid from absorbing I-131? The amount of iodine in a quarter of a tablespoon in 1 gram of this is 90 micrograms. You need 100 milligrams of iodine to block I-131 absorption. You'd have to eat kilograms and kilograms of this, and trust me, that will kill you. You know, you're going to get people saying, I don't have potassium iodide, I don't have potassium iodate. Maybe a little bit of iodized salt will help. Bad news is it won't. It's so small, the amount of iodine in salt, there's no chance of it helping to protect you from the issue that you're faced. Sodium is not the greatest thing to be shoving in your body, especially if you might have radiation sickness. Hooples, can I use sodium reduced salt? It's got potassium in it. No, absolutely not. Again, the amount of iodine in there is so tiny, it's not going to help. The amount of sodium that's still in reduced sodium salts and the potassium specifically that's in it is likely to hurt you. Hooples, what about seaweed? What about kelp? Well, if you live near an ocean, you have seaweed available, certainly a year or so after a nuclear war, that's probably going to be a significant source of protein and nutrition for you. So learn about that, learn how to process it, how to store it, and how to eat it. But in terms of the amount of iodine in this type of a product, again, you'd have to eat so much of this, you will die long before you get anywhere even traceable effect to block I-131. The main ingredient of this is seaweed, and it doesn't even list iodine, it's so small. There isn't that much iodine in seawater, there isn't that much iodine in seaweed. Yes, there's a lot more than in a general carrot in your garden, depending on where your soil is, but there's nowhere near enough to help protect you from I-131 exposure. So the message is, get potassium iodide, get potassium iodate, get Lugol's iodine, know the doses, know what you're going to do with it, know how long you're going to maybe have to give it for in the event of a nuclear war, but get one of those products, because those products will block I-131 from getting in your thyroid, and specifically in your children's thyroids, and stop them getting thyroid cancer months to years to a decade after the nuclear war. If you live anywhere near a nuclear power station, if you live anywhere upwind from a nuclear power station, get potassium iodide, get potassium iodate, get Lugol's iodine today, and get ready to take it in the appropriate amount for you and your family in the doses as soon as you realize I-131 is in the environment, not when a doctor's told you to take it. I can't emphasize this enough. The difference between blocking the thyroid from uptake before exposure as compared to 4 hours after exposure is literal life or death. Just get it. Stop making excuses. I don't care about the price or how long you have to wait to get it. Get it. Thanks everyone for watching. Please comment, critique and make other suggestions in the boxes below. There is nothing I can find that's safe to take that will give you enough iodine to block the uptake of I-131 other than potassium iodate, potassium iodide and Lugol's iodine. I haven't found anything else. There probably is other stuff out there, but nothing that you're going to see pushed online or I've seen pushed online is going to do anything for you to help protect you. Nothing. Not even slightly improve your chances. Don't take stuff because people sound like they know what they're talking about. They don't. Now, I've enjoyed making these 2 videos, but to be frank with you, it's a ton of work and I'm not really into heavy amounts of work, but I thought it was important to, as I use my registered nurse skills and my Master's of Science, to actually tell people what on earth potassium iodide, potassium iodate is and how to sanely use it. Because honestly, when I found out they were doing black walnut videos, I couldn't believe it. To think that the black stuff coming out of walnut husks is pure iodine. This is why we probably won't survive as a species. But whilst we do, some of us can watch stuff and make decisions. Don't just swallow what I've said. Where you can, verify it. There's a whole massive quantity of links. Go there, look at them, do some thinking for yourself. If you have young kids or teenagers, how much time would you devote to stopping them getting thyroid cancer and dying? Think about it. A couple of hours, 3 hours. You had enough time to watch this video in full. You had enough time to watch the other video in this series. You had enough time to grab a notebook and make notes. You had enough time to actually make screen grabs and print out sheets of dosing information. You had enough time to order and buy this stuff. Like I say, the beauty of this stuff is going to last well after the expiry date. Hopefully you'll never use it. But if you have to use it, that's not the time to try and get it. Trust me, you won't be able to. The government may have stockpiles, but getting those stockpiles out to the warehouses, to your home, for you to take in a nuclear war before you're exposed to iodide-131, I wouldn't bet on it. So I have already been asked to do pectin, what it is, how it works, the use of it, side effects of it and all that stuff. It's actually a fairly straightforward one compared to this one, but again, I've done bits of that before in my other videos. But pectin is also like potassium iodide. It hasn't actually really been used except for Chernobyl, and the data from Chernobyl is a bit spotty and I don't really read Russian that well. But I will do that in this series. I think it's reasonable. Do you have any other medications you want me to cover? I'm thinking for sure I would like to do antibiotics. I've done that before in my early days of my channel in PowerPoints. But I think it would be helpful to pick an antibiotic like ampicillin and show what it looks like, show the doses for different age groups, show when you would use it, when you wouldn't use it, and base that upon signs and symptoms that the layperson can understand. Bearing in mind you would never use it without a doctor's prescription, but if for some reason all the doctors are dead and you found some, would you know when to actually safely use it and when to safely stop using it, and what actually it's going to help with and what it won't help with. That's what I was kind of thinking I might do for the series, penicillin V, and a few other things like doxyperin and a few other antibiotics. If you're still watching at this point, you're going to get a little bonus. I went to the Defen bunker in Ottawa and really enjoyed it. In fact, I enjoyed it so much, I'm probably going to go back there. We are going back to Ottawa for another month in June of next year. That's how confident I am at this point we're not going to have a nuclear war. Would you guys like me to read this out? I haven't done a long read for a long time. I would read this out and actually put up pictures or video or whatever pertaining to this. How's this for a quote? The hydrogen bomb has made an outstanding incursion into the structure of our lives and our thoughts. So Winston Churchill. Anyway, in 1956 they decided to do this in Great Britain. This is a fake one, it's copied and it's all about the hydrogen bomb. I'll give you a quick little teaser. What it would sound like. There would be pictures. I'm old, so I have to take my glasses off, and I wouldn't be like this. There'll be pictures, right, to entertain you. At Hiroshima and Nagasaki, very few injuries such as perforated eardrums were caused directly by the blast itself. The real danger is that people would be struck by falling masonry, flying debris, or fragments of glass, or might themselves be thrown against some object. The warning system, however, is designed to enable people to get under cover. A slit trench, especially if covered with a few feet of earth or cellar or basement, would give good protection. Well, let me know in the comments below. Do you want me to read this out loud? I probably will anyway. It's kind of a hobby of mine. I'm really into nuclear war and all that stuff. Child of the 60s and 70s. I'm really unhappy it's happening again. I'm really unhappy I have to show this stuff and even have this stuff. But it is what it is. Stay safe. Thanks for watching. Toodles. This video has been brought to you by a very tiny Terrier production 2022.